Oh, fuck off. Pay at pump only. Try a few moments later. Try again. This is pay at pump only. Oh my gosh. Fucking hell. The pump you're at, you can only pay outside. Okay, you need to go to a different pump then. Look at this bad boy. The 1150 GS. Who doesn't want one of these? Beautiful motorcycles. I'll tell you who. Double negative? Nobody. Nobody doesn't want one of these things. I'm gonna get out of the way. But listen to that crack. Woof. Woof, woof. Let's just pull over for a second. What is there not to love about this motorcycle? We've got a 23 litre tank. Now what that ends up meaning is that, oh, we need to reset this. For every litre of fuel, you do about 10 miles. So that gives you a range of about 230 miles. Now, I struggle to squeeze 230 out of this bad boy sometimes because, well, it's not that efficient at top speed. But you've got a shaft drive, so you don't have to clean a chain in the winter, no adjusting. It's very cold outside these days. But you've got a beautiful shaft for that kind of maintenance-free riding. You've got the odd looks, right? You've got the big bird looks, and that's, you know, that's each to their own, I suppose. Spoked wheels, nice and strong. I mean, it's so good. And this is all stock, right? I've not touched this bike. I mean, okay, it does have a decap pipe, it does have the Remus exhaust, and this is the ABS free model, okay? So if you're buying one of these, which you should, you want the one without ABS, because the ABS pump on these things is not the most reliable of things. Okay, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, we're fine. So I think one of the big misconceptions about a big GS, and I say a big GS, all GSs are the same size. Actually, no they're not. Sorry, you can get the baby GSs, can't you? So a big GS, some might assume that it's too big for London. And I would say, the first time I rode one of these was a 1200 GS. It was a 2016 1200 GS. The first one I rode into London. And the thing that shocked me was just how manoeuvrable these bad boys are. Oh, I forget, this is a 50, isn't it? It's so manoeuvrable. And yes, okay, so they're quite bulbous and quite wide, and they're almost as wide at the engine casing as they are at the handlebars, which, by the way, it's not narrow. It's like 90, it's nigh on a metre. Basically a metre wide. That's what you've got to budget for. But let's say a normal bike, like a narrow bike, right? Let's pretend a superbike is like 90 centimeters wide, or maybe even less, but let's say 90 for all intents and purposes. This is less than a meter, but let's call it a meter. That's 10 centimeters, which is like, what, that much? So you're telling me that this can't fit through a gap that your superbike could, because you've got less than that much buffer. Now, I know you want buffer, right? So if you've got 20 centimeters buffer and that's what you're happy with, going down to 10 is not going to make you very happy, right? But for example, the gap between those two cars there is abundant. You could easily fit this through at speed. I'm not a fan of filtering once traffic's up to like kind of cruising speed. Depends on the mood, I suppose. But generally not a fan. I don't feel like doing it right now, let's put it that way. You've got your overdrive gear, okay, so it's 6-speed gearbox. Oh, I'm gonna go. So you got a nice 6-speed gearbox in this thing. No quick shifter, of course. This is from 2003, this bike, and it's done 57,000 miles. But I mean, honestly, it still does the numbers. Top speed of around 120 miles per hour. Once you get up to like 100, the acceleration stops. Like it's not a fast bike at speed. But then it's a bloody GS, isn't it? It's only got 90 horse, and it's got a butt ton of torque. The idea being that you've just got a nice, comfortable ride, not necessarily a out-and-out powerhouse that you might normally be thinking about when you're thinking, oh, I want to get a fast motorbike to go to work on. I wouldn't call this a fast bike, but like I said, I'd call it a fast vehicle for sure. Gearbox is smooth, heated grips, stage 1 and 2, classic BMW. So you've got your 1, which is just your, okay, I'll just leave that on so my hands are comfortable, and then you've got your 2, i.e. it's flipping cold outside, or I want to melt something. Go on then, you do your business. I'm going to take this lane actually. God, the behaviour on these roads is just, it's not good, is it? I mean, come on. But it's okay, as long as we're doing sort of filtering. I couldn't filter at this speed. Not between parked cars. Maybe I could. Maybe I could. So, other things. It is London low emission zone compliant. Now that's a big deal these days, because fucking Sadiq Khan wants your money. And I don't think you should give him your money, personally. I'm taking that, thank God. Now this is where we see the downside of this bike. Because you can look up ahead and you can see lots of cars just pincered in together. I don't know why they like to do that. So I don't feel bad for a moment for, like, look at this bitch. Just sort of, like, just drifting across the lane without a care in the world. I mean, I kind of understand. Not everyone's looking out for motorbikes, which is fair enough. But I like a bit of space. Like, here you go, we get to watch someone from behind. So that is a narrower bike than we have, and it just sort of had a little wobble to get through there. But it's okay. Like, Porsche's seen us, that's the main thing. Porsche might have seen us, but then pulled straight back in. I don't think he did see us. I think he was just adjusting himself. Say, London low emission zone compliant. Big deal, right? When I first got this bike, I started using it to come into London, and about 2 weeks later I started getting the fines through the post, and honestly it hit me, because you know, when you buy something, like you buy yourself a motorbike, you're thinking, oh, okay, cool, well, this is how it's going to be, I'm going to buy the bike and use it to go to work, blah blah blah. And so you gear yourself up, you adjust your daily routine, and then suddenly you're told that actually your daily routine is bullshit, and it's either going to cost you, like, what was it, 15 quid a day or something stupid like that, or you're or you're fucked, you're going to do something else. But it turns out it is compliant, and for motorbikes at least, London low emission zones, you just have to be compliant with the regulations. You don't actually have to have the Euro flipping compliance from the factory, right? So if you have a car, this is how I understand it, if you have a car, you have to be Euro 5, or it might even be 6 now, and I think that also depends on petrol or diesel. And if you're not, well, fuck you, it doesn't matter. With a bike, if you don't have the if the bike isn't sold as being compliant, but it technically meets the regulations, then you're good also. However, TfL will take the piss here, and they will work on the basis of what your bike is stamped for. So basically, if you have one of these and no one's done it before you, and there might be a little trick here that I'm going to elaborate on a second before I get pincered between a 7 Series and a Qashqai. It's all to do with the sort of noxious fumes coming out of your exhaust and whatnot. So this bike allegedly from BMW doesn't emit NO2 and some other bullshit like that, and that's all Euro 4 for bikes is about, and that's what you need to be compliant with. So all you need to do is email, I think it's BMW ECC or EOECO. It's not ECO actually, it's like EOC or something. You tell them what your VIN number is, and then they send you a certificate essentially that says yep, your bike has this level of emission for this and this level of emission for that. God, I hate commuters, honestly. It's such a pain in the arse. And then you send that to TfL with a picture of your V5 showing that it's you, and then they will add your bike to a register that exempts you from the charge, which is obviously quite a perk, I must say. Now there is also, I've always wondered, if you put a private plate on your bike, you then send that certificate to TfL to get yourself exempt from the from the emission charge, and you then put that same plate on like a old diesel car, would it still be exempt? I don't know. Obviously bikes don't have to pay to go through the tunnel or over the bridge at Dartford Crossing, so that's always a bonus. Parking in London is free on for motorcycles on street at least. You will have certain private parking, so certain NCPs, they will want to charge you. There's usually a reduced rate for a motorcycle. Sometimes it's free altogether. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes you can just ride out the end barriers, that kind of thing, or around the barriers. You see people doing that all the time, so I assume it works, and that these people aren't just all doing it for the first time in front of me and then getting fined and never doing it again. I'm assuming. So the road we've just been on is definitely the worst of the worst as far as filtering on a bike like this. If you're on some narrow little sporty number, then you'd probably be fine. But I mean it's flipping January. It's January, it's 0 degrees. You're not really wanting to be on a superbike or something like that in this weather, I don't think. That's the beauty about something like this. You ride this with the stock tyres, so you've got your nice knobblies on. I mean, adventure tyres, let's say. You've got your adventure tyres on, so if you get a bit of loose surface, like grit and oil and all of that shit, that's a motorcyclist's worst nightmare. You have one of these and suddenly, I'm not going to say you've got grip, because you haven't, but the bike has less grip to start with and is more designed to kind of have a little slip around looking for grip, so it feels less out of shape when that happens. And it's a big old thing, this. It's like 270 kilos, I believe, and I suppose that leads into another. Yeah, it's 270 kilos, so you don't really want to be skidding it around. It's a big old girl. We like big old girls. But yeah, the weight issue, I mean, you can just leave it on the street. Now, I would always recommend putting a chain on through a wheel, just not even for theft, right? Just so people can't wheel your bike out, so they can move it into the road and take your parking space. People do that. Like I don't do that, but I definitely rearrange bikes sometimes to get a parking space. And whilst it would be annoying if everyone had wheel locks to stop you touching their bikes, I'm just saying people do touch bikes. Oh god, you motherfuckers! Look at that guy. That's bald on the back, man. That tyre. Where's that guy going? Oof! I would not have guessed that. Maybe he's telling us, don't overtake me please, and maybe he's, oh god, I definitely should have overtaken him there. I still could kind of demonstrate the absolute agility of this bike. So watch this. Like, you can't do that on a sports bike. That's a scooter right there. Scooter agility. Are you ready? What is that guy doing, man? That is nutty. Honestly, some of the riders you see in London, they're just in for a penny, in for a pound, I suppose. Thought so. As far as London commutes go, I must say this is a very gentle one. I've done a few different routes into this city over the years as I've moved around, and the A13, which is what I'm on right now, is very sedentary. It's lovely, I must say. You've just got these lovely dual carriageways, and this is basically as busy as it gets. And you gotta watch out for this type of shit, of course, but it's half of the course, really. Could be a lot worse. It is a lot worse in a lot of places. Don't you fucking dare. Got this bike on my inside, which is a bit annoying because I'm trying to be very cautious about people crossing in front of stationary cars, and that van has given me all the opportunity I needed. Very nice, thank you, Mr. Van. Like, look at that. They just don't look. They just sort of wander out into the street. Just like, yeah, fuck it, you'll have to stop, won't you? And it's like, okay, that's all very well, mate, but one day you'll do that to someone who's not ready to stop, doesn't stop, and fucking kills you. Did he get through? He did not get through. How are we looking? Red, 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 red. Damn shame right there. Damn shame. The comfort on this bike is up there. The actual ride quality is, I'd say, is okay. Let's be honest, this bike's done 60,000 miles. It could probably use new springs and shocks, but it's an old vehicle anyway, and that's the thing to bear in mind. But it's just soft all over. It's just comfortable, you're upright, you're bolt upright, I must say. And the only downside for like long journeys is kind of wind buffeting, I'd say, if you're cruising at high speeds. And when I say high speed, I don't mean motorway speed. I mean, like, you know, 90, 100 mile an hour, like for sustained periods of time. You will get kind of achy shoulders, as you do on most motorcycles, doing that sort of speed for a long time. If you're not conditioned for it, of course. Some of you might say, ah, fuck it, you know, anyone can do 150 mile an hour all day. And it's like, not anyone can, but if you can, good for you. Have a little mosey on past. Like, thank you very much. Oh, I know what this looks like.